And Hoodwink, nice to meet you too.
You too. Nice to meet you, man.
I know we haven't really had too many exchanges other than when you try to cancel a player's contract like really early on, and I wouldn't let you.
Oh, I'll need to look back at that.
Right, we're live. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the So Rare Ramble. We're back after 1 week off. Apologies for that. I'll explain why in a little bit. But there were a lot of guesses going on. I saw Hoodwink running a little competition. I can't remember. I don't know what won, but I'll find out in a bit. But yeah, this week we're back. We've got a guy on that I've wanted to get on for ages. A guy that when I first started playing MFL, I was a little bit unsure. I saw his messages. I thought maybe he's a little bit cold and a bit cut and dry. But then I've heard him on a couple of shows recently, and I think I even DM'd you to say you come across so well, you should be on more shows. And we've arranged to get him on this show, and he comes across as such a nice guy, and he's been playing the game at a high level, as you'll see. When we look at some of the tables, he ranks first in the leaderboard in probably the most important categories: trophies won and money earned, MFL earned. And he's been playing the game for a long time. How are you, sir? Welcome, BigWilbert.
Hey, pretty good. Thanks for having me on, David and Hoodwink. Always listen to your guys' podcasts whenever I can. So just glad to be a part of the fun.
And we're joined, as always, by our glorious Scottish co-host, Braveheart himself, and that is Hoodwink. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thanks.
Nice. And who won for the guest last week, then? Can you remember why it didn't happen?
Massive Ericsson, and it was a conspiracy about Laird. I don't know what word for word, but aye, it was a Laird conspiracy.
Yeah. But apologies. But my tummy has been kicking my ass over the last sort of month or two, and it got really, really bad last week. Eventually, my ex kindly paid for me to go private, and so now I'm on steroids, which is great. Fortunately, my immune system is now in the mud, and I've picked up some virus, but better that than being in pain anyway. But we're here this week. But last week, we were meant to have BigWilbert on, joining Kev and I for a watch-along stream on Tuesday. Obviously didn't happen. We'll try and do more stuff like that, probably the new year now, I imagine. And obviously on Wednesday, we were meant to have Laird on. I think Laird's going to be booked in for a future show as well. It'd be good to have him on as well. I'm trying to think what else there was. We were meant to even be doing So Rare Ramble last week, and that didn't happen either. So, clean sweep of failure. Perfect. But we're back. We're bad. It is Holiday Heroes. How is it going for everybody in Holiday Heroes? I have got 4 teams in at the moment. Let's have a quick look at which ones. We'll go through sort of what's happening with our teams and everything a little bit later on. We definitely won't go through all of our teams because between us now we've got gazillion teams. I think I've got 4 teams in now. Yeah, Monkey Magic, Funky Monkey, and two of the lower ones, Vikings and Monkey Berbers, the new team for this season. I don't really think I'm probably going to get any other teams in. They're not particularly OP for their sort of tiers. But what about you, Hoodwink?
So I've got Edinburgh. I managed to get in this morning. I keep missing the deadlines, even with reminders. So I set an alarm this morning for when I was leaving with Mark a minute before. So I got in with Edinburgh, which is my main
another
one.
Like in an hour.
Oh, is there more today, early on?
The next one for me, the next one, there is a couple in an hour that I don't think my teams will get in. They're just not very good. But the main one I want now is Daegu, and that's in 9 hours. So I'll try and remember that one. And then Livingston have qualified and Atlanta have qualified. So I've got 3 in and probably one more I want to try. The other 2 I'm not too fussed, especially the wee Ramble one because they just get pumped every first round.
Nice. What about you? What should I call you? BigWilbert? Wilbert?
Will, BigWilbert.
Will?
Whatever. I got a ton of names. Bert, whatever you want to call me. But BW, what some people call me for short. So just whatever you want to call me, it's fine. But yeah, in terms of my teams, I think I've got 7 qualified now, 2 in tier 1, 1 in tier 2. Only one in tier 3, although I'm trying to get another one in there. And then I think I just qualified my third one in tier 4 last night. So I think that's what, seven total. So I'm still gonna throw them out there at every single one. But yeah, just trying to see how many I can get in.
Nice. And like at the top end, it's actually a decent amount of cash you can win, isn't it? Like you could probably, you know, I guess it's not like life-changing money, but for MFL, it's sort of a nice step forward. How did you feel about it when they sort of introduced sort of this as sort of an option for this season? Do you see it as like a nice bit of fun or something that it might trend towards at a future date?
Yeah, it's always like nice to have like a little bit of a bonus, and um, with the like cups, like on the top end, I normally do pretty well, so I think I'm in pretty good position. I was the first one to qualify in tier 1, so with my Tango club, and I was able to get like one of my platinum like clubs as well to qualify. So 2 out of what, like 16, like isn't bad.
Yeah, there's not going to be many teams, is there? I know Bob's qualified, doesn't he? I saw that
Yeah,
the
he was
Iron
like second or third to qualify.
Yeah, and then Meta Mercenaries, obviously Ronan's in now, and obviously you've got 2 teams in there. So yeah, it's going to be fun seeing who else is who wins the final qualifiers. But yeah, I think that the big teams mostly are in there now, aren't they?
Oh, there's like a couple. I don't think like Dio's like attempted to join any, but maybe he'll just join late. As well as I don't know, probably 4 or 5 more diamond clubs that could probably get in. But yeah, it'll be pretty fierce competition, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Before we move on, we've got Kev Hurd in the chat. Kev, hopefully we'll have you back on soon. I'm sorry for letting you down last week. Got Andrew Q, got Sid, got Jimbo. What's up? BigWilbert, stay out of tier 3, please. He's saying to you, I'm assuming. But and 2 in T1 is amazing, yeah. And Kev, like breaking news, Kev finally got the Amigos in there after Monkey Magic crushed them in the first round in one of the tier 2 qualifiers, like early on. They just went on an absolute miserable run in the qualifiers. But, he changed his tactics and it got him through. So the Amigos are in there now. But it was looking like it was going to be one of those heartbreaking sort of things. Like they're a decent team, like one of the best teams in sort of gold. And, you would have thought that they would be one of the first teams to qualify. But it's a bit of fun, isn't it? I really enjoy it. Like just a different angle to the season. It's just something else to set an alarm for. But as if I hadn't got enough alarms anyway, going off reminding me of stuff. But right, today, you know what happened last pack drop. I said I was going to get a legendary. I got a legendary. It's pack drop day. What does that mean? Am I going to get another legendary? I reckon I am. One of us is going to get a legendary from a thing. Either that's one of us 3 hosting the show, one of the Ramble, co-hosts, maybe even someone in the chat. Not you, Jimbo. I don't see it happening for you. But for anyone else, it could happen. BigWilbert, do you get involved in pack drops? Do you try and mash the buttons?
Yeah, not so much. Like not so much anymore. Especially like on the top end. If anything, I'm looking to really get them and then like resell them. But because like that's where the real value is. But I'm always tempted to like open up one of the like bottom tier packs, right? The kickoff packs or the limited packs. I typically open up a couple of them just to get that surprise out of the way, right? Because there's nothing like opening up a pack.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that like I noticed looking through your sort of gallery earlier, your agency, wrong game, your agency earlier, that like you've got sort of, quite a specific way of playing the game at the moment, which I think is probably true of a lot of the guys in sort of Diamond League and, that earn a lot of MFL is sort of like you sell a lot of packs, you use the MFL that you earn and you generate a lot of MFL. I remember being shamed every time people announced people showed their reward winnings on rewards day. Everyone would put, "Oh, look, I've got biggest season yet. I've got like 50,000," and then you'd post like 3 million or something like that, and people would cry. But yeah, you've got like a quite specific way of playing, which is buying reward packs, selling those reward packs, and it looks like there's a constant stream of sales going out there. and then plowing the money back into sort of cards. And I mean, I open my reward packs. That's more for content than anything else. I realise that, it's probably better to buy from the market, but I do buy from the market as well. But yeah, I was looking at some of the cards you bought recently, and I think there's so much value around there now, isn't there? Whether that's buying really, really cheap players that are sort of, on there.
Like that one that you're looking at right now, like an 88 rated striker for.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, if I'd seen that one, I would have bought that one.
Yeah, because like you're always like hitting me up for like a striker, like before every season. I'm like, I don't have any to give you. I'm sorry, David.
No, I perfectly understand. I mean, if I'm honest, I prefer to run my own teams and like have all my own players. I just find it sort of more satisfying having all the players. But when the higher you get, the harder it is, unless you've got sort of a decent bankroll. So it is quite tough. So fortunately, I sort of managed to get sort of 4 or 5 loans in, but I hate waiting on sort of loans. I like want to set my teams and get them all sorted. And I understand that everyone else wants to sort of wait and do exactly the same themselves. So I can't ask them for a striker and then expect them to get back to me. It's perfectly understandable. But and I'm sure with the amount of players that you've got, that you get hounded with people looking for players. But like, as opposed to a lot of the other big managers and the agencies in the game, I was looking through your sort of like gallery earlier, and like your highest team, I think, is Ice. And you've only got a few in there, and then the rest of them at like respectable divisions. Like you got a lot in bronze, maybe even one in most bronze divisions, a lot in silver.
Yeah, okay, I think the breakdown is 1 in diamond, 1 in platinum, 3 in gold, the full like 8 in silver, 8 in bronze, 12 in iron, and then like 3 to 5, I think, in stone, and then like 3 in like ice. So like I actually had one club demote from like ice to spark, and I'm like, I really like the small band of like matches. So I ended up like making a deal with Kev, to get another bronze club out of it.
Yeah, no, I think that and I guess my point was that having that many teams at the higher end means that you need all your best players. I doubt very much once you've done it, you have that many left over to loan anyway, do you?
Sometimes I do, like sometimes, because I have my own like ranking system for all my players, and that's how I kind of fill out my squads. And sometimes there's you know, like like a high overall player that like ranks down in like iron or bronze. So I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and try to get this, up in a silver club or maybe even a gold club at times. But that's really like a rare process. But I do everyone a favor and I mark all my players as unavailable right off the bat, so I don't get inundated with a bunch of them. And I know a lot of people have um, stressed out, like when they don't like hear back, like from an offer in like a day or two. So I just kind of remove that from the equation at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, exactly the same. Like like the day that pre-contract offers come up, that sign comes up, the little flag from Lucas or whatever in the Discord, and that means I go straight to my agency, put every player to unavailable. It just makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it? Right at the start, until I've done my teams, then I slowly sort of like take chunks off and ready for loan and stuff like that. But Hoodwink, you're a bit different, aren't you? You quite like a little bit of loan offerage, don't you?
I kind of do, but within like 5 minutes, I regret it. But usually, I'll try and when the pre-contracts come out, I set my teams for next season to like stage 1, basically. Like this is what I'm happy with, and then any upgrades I'll get over the next kind of week or 2 or 3, however long for the season. But I try and get them set up so at least I know that my teams are set, and then all I'm doing for there is upgrading. And then I'll usually just put them like at a certain percentage is available, just in case there's someone that's like, I'll give you 10% with, 20 game clause and that kind of thing. And you're a wee bit tempted to get someone like a nice bit of MFL and someone that's actually a spare player. But also for a lot of the lower ones, I just want them out with contracts and a couple of percent and that kind of thing. So if I can get that done early, then it kind of helps me know like using dev jail and stuff like that. So I do like it, but I do always regret it. Like it's because it's chaos. It's like you get a couple of hundred email like inbox, and you can't really go through them. So it's just a quick glance at any good ones, maybe.
Yeah. I'm just looking at your dev jail at the moment, BigWilbert, but you've got quite a few players in there. Have you got any sort of like guys that have really popped off this season in sort of progression?
Yeah, like Michael like Schultz. So if you want to open up just the current season and then just sort by overall, he's up +7, and then I think he's up like 35 overall, like total. Yeah, he's had a pretty crazy ride. Like he's one of the guys that I got at age 26 and I threw him in dev jail right away. So like mid-season there, and just yeah, that's a crazy progression. So I'm finally gonna get him into my agency next season. But I have a feeling though that I'm gonna get unlucky and he's gonna get that like tombstone, where he's gonna file for retirement at 30. Like I just know it.
Yeah, you often think, don't you, when you get those players at 26, you go, oh, well, hopefully at least he like plays 10 seasons, and then sort of like, 4 seasons down the line, they stick that tombstone up and it's like heartbreak. But yeah, what did he start? 48, now he's up to 82. God. How many of those guys have you had? Like, I know that you had one that you sold, haven't you? Sort of.
Oh no, like I don't really sell. So my other guy's like Latuma, who's actually I think one stat away from being the first like double up in like MFL. He started as a 47 and he's currently a 94.
Oh
So
my God.
93. Yeah.
That is
So
nuts.
yeah,
That's
he was
insane.
also
And that's
oh
got to
yeah,
be the
yeah.
highest.
That's exactly
growth.
what you're looking for.
Is that the highest growth in one season as well? His first season, he went from I can't even tell because I can't zoom out that far. Is that like a 40?
It was a 47 to maybe like a 65 because like no to a 64 because like this was like back before like limiteds and um were around. So this was back when like there's no way that like you could find a spot. So you pretty much had to throw these guys in dev jail in order to get anything for them. So
That must be so satisfying as well that you've had a player that you got sort of, that was absolute dust. He was nothing to start off with. And now not only has he sort of progressed, he's progressed so much that he's gone from whatever a 46 and now he's playing in the big leagues. He's playing with he's sitting on the main team in the absolute pinnacle of the game.
oh yeah, for sure. And like not to mention, his 99 pace and like 99 like physical out of a because his like main position is a left wing back and but like I play him at like center back because he's actually rated 95 there. So he's technically like already an ultimate.
Nice. And those sort of upgrades as well are sort of brilliant. Probably not so much at Diamond because that's the top of the game anyway, and you're always going to get drawn there in the cup. But I do like building sort of one or two teams where there's quite a few players that get upgrades and then put them, as a cup focused team, and they've done quite well in the cup. But I guess it doesn't make much difference to you, does it? 'Cause you're in the Titans Cup regardless.
Well, like I have like 40 different clubs. So if you look at my Fox Valley one, I actually do have and I think I like posted it like in the Ramble Discord. Robles, he's a 58 rated left mid.
Oh, I remember
And
that. Yeah,
but
everyone was posting
he's
their
actually
like,
a 72 rated striker. So he actually does really well for me in the cup. And he pretty much just like hauls in those like golden boots. I think he's up to like 8 already, between the cups and the leagues.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember everyone was posting like, I've got one that I think is like +10 and stuff like that, and then you post that one. But yeah, no,
keep going, all the way to the end there.
Oh, is it one of the absolute bottom clubs?
Yep, my ice club, but it's pretty much right there, the Fox Valley one. Yeah, that's actually my home club. That's where I live. Just go one more over.
Oh, Fox Valley. Sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, because I was looking earlier. I thought he must have a hometown club, and often with the hometown.
This is the only one. This is the only one. So I'm glad I was able to get it.
Yeah, and I was looking to see if you had any, because obviously Green Bay are in. Well, they're in Wisconsin, aren't they?
Yeah. The Green Bay's like in Wisconsin, but like I just live west of Chicago. But
Okay.
I only really root for one one Chicago team. The rest of them are kind of rivals with Chicago. So it's a lot of fun with the fans around here. So
having a look. Which is the player you were talking? Robles, isn't it?
Robles, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a 58 rated left mid, and he goes up to 70. What was it? 70?
72. So like originally it was like a plus 15, but like since he's like got a few passing stats, he's actually gone up a little bit in the left mid. But if you go to his player page, you can see all the trophies he's won. So like he pretty much just takes at least one a season. Probably won't win it in that league this year just because but yeah, if you look at the trophies on the left and
Oh, that's nuts.
like there was one season, like his first
53
season, like
goals.
75 goals.
75 goals.
Yeah,
Timmy Bond.
he was in Flint, and what's nice is like he got full like progression, right? Because he's ranked like it's like overall ratings like a 58. So like you can play him like in those leagues, and you don't have to like worry about him like missing out on progression, especially since he's going to get match ratings like a 9. So
I mean, that is insane. I guess like when MFL do their like the site relaunch, which I think Matt said maybe end of Q1 in 2026. I'd love to see a page where there's just all-time stats, and you can like the most goals ever scored in different divisions, most goals, most assists, all time, most appearances, all of those sort of things in there on your club page, but also like a global page that shows them for every sort of like stat in every league. I'd love to see sort of more of a statistics page on MFL, and I'm guessing 71 goals. 75 goals in a season would be. Do you know of anybody that's got
be
more
up
goals
there.
than that?
Yeah, but that was like the first year of like Flint, so of course like I was just beating up on competition that season. So but yeah, it was fun.
That's crazy. Do you know off the top of your head what's the highest goal score you've had, Hoodwink?
Oh, maybe I don't know. I'd guess maybe 30-ish if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Nothing too wild.
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Yeah. I think one season I had one player that got like 38, and I thought, Jesus, like that's got to be up there. But no, looking at the records that BigWilbert's got, it's absolutely nowhere near it. But
see, when you've got so many teams, well, like how do you like I'd assume like you higher up ones and you spend a bit of time on, but like see when you get into like ice teams and stuff like that, do you spend a lot of time with tactics and squad building and stuff like that? What's your kind of
Not as much.
strategy when you
Yeah, like not as much as I'd like, right? Because obviously I spend a little bit more time in the upper level clubs because like the like variance there in terms of the MFL that you can earn, like it just makes more sense to put more time in there. But like I said, I kind of draft all my teams and just kind of work from the top down. And essentially I kind of have most of my teams like set up where like most of them have like 17 or so players. Now with them getting pretty close to retirement, I've had to like adjust that a little bit, especially with those guys that are 1 or 2 seasons away. But yeah. Obviously my tactics haven't been that great this season. I've kind of had to take a few shortcuts. Like David's has probably like kicked my ass about like 10 odd times like between my teams. He's got a really good strategy there. His blitzkrieg essentially like all shots, right? Because like you always have a ton of shots, on goal, on target, and just hopefully some of them go in. But yeah. So I haven't really gone in, and typically what I've done in the past is I've gone into every single matchup and looked at the last couple games of the opponent, like adjust my width and like depth, but I haven't really had the like time to do that recently, either laziness or something else along those lines. But eh, I'm doing okay so far. I think most of my teams, except for a couple, are at least like mid-table. like upper table for the most part. So I'm just getting by on, just like guile and, like um, making sure that I'm putting my teams in like formations that don't get absolutely like stomped, by what the opponent is typically throwing out there. So I'm one of those guys that throws probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 different formations out in a different season. So, but that's by design.
Funny enough, like the game against Ybor City, which is the team that's in my win with my main team, Monkey Magic. I mean, you've got a pretty decent team in that league, and I was a bit surprised you didn't go up last season. I think you were right at the top of the league to start off with, and then sort of dropped away a little bit. And I was I can't remember whether you were in the playoffs or not, but I think I was hoping you went up, and you didn't go up anyway. But like it got to this game, and I had to rotate, and I thought, well, I may as well do it against BigWilbert because he'll probably beat me anyway. So this was like an absolute shock victory against you. But yeah, generally I do create a lot of chances. I think I had my backups in, because I've got my main right back is retiring this season. He's just like, his fitness is awful. So I just save him for I've been saving him for cup games. So yeah, I had to really rotate there. So I don't know how I won that game, but yeah, that was a bit crazy.
It happens. It happens. Like I said, like I am probably going to spend a little bit of time like during this break, just kind of tweaking, like my tactics. I'll never like consider them like done. Like there's always a way that you can, like just make them better. So they'll happen eventually. Even with that, I'm like doing okay in that league. I'm within shouting distance for 4 points back, and yeah.
Yeah, it's a close league. I mean, what is it? I'm ahead by 3 points at the moment, but I'm not even sure I want to go up. Like, if I go up, then I'll, likely be in the relegation battle, and like then I'd get less MFL anyway. So maybe I'd like to come second, but there's some decent teams in there, like Sheffield, obviously. Run by Blades. Then we've got Wolftown Finest, who always seem to do well. That's Duff. Then we've got obviously you in there as well. There's some decent sort of teams in there, decent sized Rory's in there with his Mustang side. So there's some pretty sharp managers in this division. And I think that, you just tend to find that the higher up you go, don't you? That, at the absolute top of the game, people look into tactics a lot more than they do in sort of lower divisions. And the ones in the lower divisions that are doing it probably do a little bit better than their, team overall suggest. But, as you'd expect, the higher up you go, the harder it gets. And that's the way it should be. But yeah, it's definitely been a fun ride. I guess, like, when you heard last season that they weren't changing the engine for this season, what were your immediate thoughts, Wilbert?
I wasn't really like a fan of the engine last season, so of course I wasn't really one this season. But I've like had my like rage, like moments early on, and I'm like, you know what? Technically, everyone's like going to be uh using the same engine, so like I just have to adjust, right? And that's kind of what everyone's done this season. Like you found a couple of managers that have really locked in on what really works in this engine, and I've been spanked by them pretty much every single time. But you find that they've found like a different level of like understanding of this engine, like as opposed to even what they knew last season, right? Because hey, you know what? People are going to make adjustments, so you have to make adjustments to those adjustments, and just make sure that you're like ahead of the curve like a little bit, or at least far enough like behind that you can keep up like a little bit. So
it is. It's tough, isn't it? Like, I mean, the experimental engine, I believe, is live now, isn't it? They announced it last Friday, and that's up now. I haven't had to play around with it yet, just because it changes so much between now and sort of the kick off the season that even sort of small tweaks can make changes. But from my point of view, I found something that worked sort of back end of last season and sort of continued it into this season, and it's doing okay. Quite a few of my teams are sort of a little underpowered in their division, but they're sort of like, mixing it up and doing okay for some reason. But yeah, it's always like next season will be a lot harder trying to work out how to like what would be the what's the better way to play, what works for my teams and my players. Because I've always played, I'm 4-3-3 defensive. I can rotate into some other formations, but that is the one that I sort of try and play. Most game weeks, I've got a lot of left wingers. I've got a lot of, you've just got the players for that within my agency. So to move to a different formation is always quite tough. So I sort of switch and try and work out what a style that works for that formation. Whether that be attacking. There was the season before last where I think I showed you the tactics I ran at the end of the season, Hoodwink, and they were just like absurd. It was like defensive line was like right, left. It was like ultra defensive lineup, but for some reason the way I was playing was just scoring loads of goals as well. So sometimes just sort of absurd settings that if your team was playing like that in real life, you'd probably have a fit, but it can work. So yeah, I'll have a fiddle around with it closer to the time. When do you start to think about the next season's engine? At the start of next season, or do you around rollover time?
I've kind of done a little bit of it now. It's nice to see the animations like at the beginning where they have the lineups and they assume their formations there. I've seen a lot more scoring off of one-on-ones with the keeper, because in the current engine, you'd get that one-on-one, and then the keeper turns into Superman and can block most of them. But and so hopefully with that comes a little bit less of the sweaty goals, that we've seen, those one-timers where it seems like, hey, you know what, pass to the striker that's right in the middle of the field, unblocked, and they just kind of tap it in. So I know that they have to keep a balance on the amount of goals. So hopefully if we see more of those one-on-one goals, we see less of those pass across the box right in, where the keeper doesn't move at all.
Yeah, I do find I guess after 2 seasons now, I'm getting a little bit bored of seeing those type of goals. They're just you still get variety, you still get the long shots. I had a couple of goals in the cup yesterday where there was a pass to a striker sort of well outside the box. He just curled it into the net. You do still get those worldies, but they are a little bit less than they used to be. And it does feel like sort of the goals are sort of quite heavily weighted to those sort of sweaty goals where someone goes down to the bylines and works their way in a little bit, as you just said, and then just crosses it to the striker in the middle. But you still get the other type of goals. But yeah, it's always interesting. And as have you seen in sort of your early friendlies on the experimental engine that there's slightly more variety in goals?
Yeah, I could say that. I know that they're working on something where you actually see the same amount of goals, but more opportunities on the top end. So I think they're gonna work on scaling, that, so it kind of looks similar across the different levels. But yeah, I try a couple here and there just to see how they've updated it, but gonna really delve into it right after the season, right around holiday Heroes time, when a lot of my guys get knocked out of the cups. So
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, towards the back end of the season when there's sort of less action, then I definitely will be starting to look at the engine a bit more. Hoodwink, you like playing friendlies? Have you used the new engine at all yet?
Nah, I've not yet. I don't think I've played a single game. I usually wait till, to date seriously, probably once the season's finished, and then kind of start. And I spend a lot of time, once I kind of get into it, I spend a lot of time on it, hours at a time. So it's quite time consuming. And I know if I started now, it's just, there's going to be so many changes, and I just spend so much time building tactics that I think are set, then they stop working. So I'm usually quite late on to, at least when the season's finished anyway, or my team's built and that kind of thing. So
yeah, no, exactly. I guess sort of spinning back to your strategy, BigWilbert, you obviously you've been selling packs. Is there a specific type of player that you look for when you're buying players? Like I noticed, like a lot of them are, a little bit older, but none of them have got the tombstone up yet. Which and
Yeah, exactly.
the prices you've been
Well,
paying like are pretty good, and the players you've been buying, from what I can see, are all going to be useful at sort of bronze higher divisions.
yeah, of course. Because essentially, I'm starting like to get hit with like retirements now, so I have to like plan for the future. But I've found that you know, players in the 28 to like 31, like 32 range, have been a really good like buy recently. Uh, Especially the ones that have the like lower like player number, because like they're gonna last for another like 2 seasons. So and then they're like it's like typically the like, sell off, at certain times of the season, at the beginning of the season, right at the mid-season window, and like towards the end of the season. Um, People, just get fed up with the game, so they want to sell off. So I want to make sure that I'm like on top of a lot of those, when those deals like do come. So like I said, I was able to pick up an 88 rated striker for like 110, quite a few for, you know, these are like legendary players that I'm getting for less than $50,
I
right?
mean,
And like they're gonna last me 7 seasons. In reality, it's more like six, like 5 seasons on average. But especially because they're almost worthless, their last season, they're pretty much like just backups at that point. But um, yeah, I've just found that's kind of where the value is, and that's where my sweet spot is. And if you see, I'm selling off like uncommon player packs, like 70 to 74 like reward packs there. I could sell right, like five like uncommon player packs and get like a 30-year-old like Lego, for that same price. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And I've been socking away a little bit of it too. I think last season is when I finally went into black. So right now I'm just kind of, free rolling with all of it. So just yeah, just want to make sure that I can maintain, the performance like that I've been able to so far.
and you've got like last season, you earned just over or just under 3.2 million MFL, which is insane in itself. But with that many
Oh, yeah.
high-end clubs, then is that your biggest season so far?
Yeah, I think so. I actually like split a like platinum club with Trust and with um Ron John to like help like bolster this up a little bit. But to be honest, this is probably the like highest I'll probably ever get, just because I've had my top end players like retiring, and I'm not really filling it as much as I'd like. And like eventually, my clubs will start relegating. I did that for you, Jimbo, instead of saying the D word. But yeah. So essentially, I want to do as well as I can in every single league, and like keep my clubs up if possible, right? Because that's where you're really going to get the MFL. Like even if you finish what like seventh or eighth, like that's always better than even finishing first or second, in the like tier below. So, um, I've already had all the trophies, so I don't really like need to like chase those like as much like anymore in terms of the like club trophies. I'll still chase them, if I'm like pretty close. In terms of the playmaker trophy and the like golden glove and like golden boot. But yeah, I don't really need to worry about those as much anymore.
And when you get, do you have like an idea in your mind of like what you're going to do with the MFL when it arrives? Like, do you like obviously you buy packs to sell? I believe I could be wrong, but I think it was you buy like some legendary packs and you opened them on Discord. I'm pretty sure that was you, was
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that was me.
And so,
Yeah,
like,
so
do you ever like a split
so
in your mind?
yeah. So like that's like pretty much what I do. Like I pretty much just look at what I have, like kind of set aside like half of it, like just to sell, and then the like other half to either sell to like buy more players or to, open up packs. Like I think 2 seasons ago, I opened up like 10 legendary packs, and I didn't even have a single one that was over like 88. But but again, with that like comes like progression because I got like a few like young guys out of that are already level like 90 and above. Just through like the first like 2 seasons of like progression.
And would you have you ever opened a legendary 90 to 94? I know for me, like for me, it looks like I just don't think it's worth it. I think Bob opened one, didn't he? And he got lucky, I think, with a a pretty decent player. But like buying like 3, maybe it's just because I'm not in Diamond, I think this way, but I think buying 3 legendary packs is probably better where you could still get a 90 rated player. But yeah, I don't know. Where do you sit on that?
Yeah, I've yet to buy like a legendary 90 to 94. I just don't feel the need for it, especially with, the sheer like amount of players that I have in my agency. Eventually, some of them like are gonna like jump up, like to that level and just like finally fill in, everything else. I don't really feel the need to because at one point, that 90 to 94 at 900K MFL, that's equivalent of like at one time like $3,000 USD, right? And like I think it's about like half of that now, so right around like 1,700 to 1,800. But even with that, you can go out and get the player that you want. That's pretty much an ultimate player already. They're gonna be on like a little bit like on the older side, but like you'll be able to get like a lot more out of that instead of having to be, to be patient and wait for that player to progress and finally fill into that spot.
Yep. And like on the pack drop front, obviously we've got pack drop tonight. We spoke about it earlier. Only 30 red packs again. Not very many. MFL have been listening. They are, they have reduced the sort of the mints on the real world packs. But, I sort of from a business point of view, I feel like they can't sort of keep this low forever. What would you do in terms of sort of pack delivery or sort of making sure that MFL are generating the cash to sort of like keep the game that we love going? How do you foresee it going in the future with sort of pack drops and sort of generation of money from club sales, etc., for MFL?
Well, like I've been around for like over like 3 years, so I've seen the like booms and like busts like of the market, right? There's going to be like another one coming up, and I think that's what they're really like building for, especially with this like holiday like heroes. This is the first time that they've offered cash money like in terms of like a prize. Not to mention the like people that they brought on. I think they brought on two like onto the like marketing team that are just solely going to be on there, like to get the word out. And it's good that we finally got a stable version of the match engine. I might not be a fan of it, but it's nice that we have a stable version because that just means that we're going to be ready to open it open it up to like more of the masses, like in terms of like marketing and like getting the word out there like about this game because hey, you know what, it's kind of what a lot of us are looking for, in terms of hey, you know what, you're going to be facing like a human uh like opponent every single time, right? Like there's ways that you can make money in the game, although it's a game, right? Don't put more money in there than like you can afford to lose. But there is the ability to, hey, you know what? Instead of throwing hundreds of dollars like out there for the FIFA packs, right? You actually can, sell your players back. You can sell your clubs back, for a certain amount. So eventually we'll go through another boom, maybe like towards, like about the same time last year that we like kind of saw a boom. Maybe we have another influencer like or two like Nep and Laird. But yeah, it happens. Or, like it might just be a slow like decline, but like in that case, like I'm just here to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I really enjoy the game, and it hooked me fairly early on, and it hooks a lot of users fairly early on, and I'm here until whatever happens. I think that you're right, though. I think that there's another boom cycle in there. If I was going to predict when it would be, I would say sort of like end of Q1 next year, when sort of like other games are sort of dying down, where people are playing real football and people are looking for something else to play, and they dive into this again. But Hoodwink. Like, any thoughts on sort of like whether the market is now, and whether you think sort of like pack drops numbers will increase down the line, or do you think they're going to be fairly stable at these sort of numbers for the next few drops?
I'd imagine they're probably going to be stable for a bit. For the way Matt was chatting when he was on the show, it sounds like they'd learned a lot through the boom and then the gradual kind of a wee bit quieter period, and they've learned a lot for that they know how to manage it better now than they did. And I didn't necessarily think a boom's always a good thing. Like, it's obviously good, like getting a lot of people on and hopefully they stay and that kind of thing. But I like it being steady rather than kind of a boom that up and down, and because I think that can sometimes scare people as well. Like the people that joined, like with Nep and Laird, people that joined there, and prices were crazy. And we had, I think at the same time, we had all the Disney dollars as well. So
Yeah,
for me, spending, it wasn't real money. I was just like, people would say a price and I'd be like, right, great, spending like $180 on like 80 rated guys and stuff like that. That I just thought, I'll get them in. This is free money.
yeah,
So at that time, prices were a bit crazy. And then when prices start coming back to normality, I think that can scare some people as well. And they think, oh shit, I'm losing money. Like, I need to get out of this game, which then kind of people undercutting each other and that kind of thing. I mean, ideally, you just have a kind of steady game that it has some peaks and stuff like that, but people can buy a player and play the game rather than worrying like, shit, this guy's half the price, rather than I've got this guy I can play for 10 seasons and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
I do think they learned a lot. Matt particularly sounded like he'd learned quite a lot through his. I think he was saying he decides on the pack amounts and stuff like that, and he said he was a bit slow to react to the market. So I think that's kind of a valuable lesson, and I think maybe if it's steady for a while, I think it's probably a good thing. But I know, as well as you saying, like maybe end of quarter 1, like we so rare last year, for example, that's when most of the people play European seasons, and that's when they end. That's when a lot of people got involved last year. And then when the season started again, it kind of people started to move over again, which is, if that's the cycle again, then that's fine. But at least it's people didn't need to panic and stuff like that and think it's like boom or bust type thing. So
yeah. Price stability is the one thing that for me is something that is like core to a game. Like, prices of players should increase, but they should increase because their like overalls have increased or their stats have increased, not necessarily just because there's loads. Obviously, you can't sort of predict that. Like, there's only 2 pack drops a season, and if suddenly there's a massive influx of users over the space of 2 weeks, there's not a lot you can do. Like, prices will go up. It's just the way it is, And I guess if you were smart, you would sell into that. For me, I guess like you, BigWilbert, I'm sort of, on team never sell, really. Like, a player joins my agency and they'll stay in my agency until they're dead. Like, it's just the way it is. But, I like sort of like seeing like the cycle of players, and, sometimes you get players that, look like they're going to be absolutely dreadful. They don't progress for, 4 seasons, and then suddenly, for whatever reason, they take off, and that's their progression cycle. And if I'd sold that player, then I wouldn't have managed to benefit and have that player. So, admittedly, it's a little rarer, but, I quite like seeing that as well. I think, Hoodwink, you're the same as well, aren't you? You don't really sell too many players.
I never sell anyone really now. Like, I can't even remember the last player I sold. I just love them too much. I was looking at, I've got Alan Santos, I think he's a 86, is he now? I was considering it with him because I didn't think I'll really go. Like, if I ever get back to silver, that's definitely my ceiling. And like him in bronze, he's like my best player by not by a mile, but he's my best player. He's 28, I think, and his all round stats are brilliant. Like, I could probably I was considering selling him if I thought the price was enough to get me like maybe even 3 or 4 players that would improve my overall squad. But then I can't do it.
And just have a look at your agency now, see how progression's been going this season.
It's not bad. Pretty steady. Quite a lot of players, but nothing like no rockets.
Yeah, it's a bit like progression. Like I think that last season we did an episode saying like, is progression, has it been changed? I don't think, in hindsight, I don't think it's been changed at all. No, I don't think many people probably thought it had been changed. It's just that a lot of the players that we have in our agencies now are sort of just older. A lot of them have reached their prime age, and that's just the way it is. And the way to get those players again is by sort of like opening reward packs or buying off the market. This is my all-time. This guy I bought in last season for a little bit when I think he was 82 rated, and he's had a fairly bonkers one. He'd had like 3 seasons where he just didn't play. He wasn't registered with any club, but every other season he's got solid progression. And sort of, he's a guy that I bought. This is the biggest one that I've had. He came in like a pack with Peroni, another guy that sort of has had decent progression. He's 47. He's just been a slow burn all the way up. I thought maybe when he got to 24 he'd stop, but his stats have started going up again now, and he gets, I think, +5 as centre forward as well. So, but his stats were truly dreadful to start off with, but now they're getting sort of respectable level. Maybe he can tear break into rare this season, but I don't know, current season. Let's have a look. I've got a few +4s now, but they're guys in dev jail. Castro, I've seen him in the chat. Amrizi, like this is a guy that I've loaned to Amrizi and one of his Mexican teams. Like the last couple of seasons, I didn't want to loan him to him this season just because he was sort of a little bit high, and I think he was in the team he wanted to go to was Spark, and I loaned him to another guy, a guy I don't know actually. So it was a bit of a. And he's just like shot up this season. So he's been a sort of slow burn, then up 3 in the last week. So if he keeps going out like that, Amrizi, I don't know whether he's going to be going to you next season. But if not, I will find you another Mexican player. But we have been ignoring, I have been ignoring the chat. I apologise for that. So I'll just do a few hellos before we go on. I can see Rascal Misaki in there. Sid, obviously we saw at the start. Andy, hello, sir. How are you? Ron John, nice to see you. I love the Ron John challenge. I bet you cannot wait for a club delegation to come along, because that must be an absolute mind fuck trying to organise all of that sort of stuff. But I love the thing, and I love listening about it on Yorkshire Tea and XP. Hoodwink, how do you make your tea? Milk first, or you drop your tea bag in, put the water in, and then put milk in after you've taken the tea bag out like a normal sane person?
Here's the cycle. And how... I don't know how we thought that was normal. You put in your tea bag, you put in your hot water, let it steep. A few minutes later, take it to the tea bag, put in your milk, enjoy your Earl Grey.
Exactly. Earl Grey? Bloody hell, mate. Bit posh.
No, have you Twinings?
Yeah, but there were some absurd ways. Like, Kev, I don't know how you can put your milk in with your tea bag, then you put the... I don't know. It breaks my mind. But anyway. But yeah, we've got Ron John in here. Amrizi, hello, sir. How are you? Who else we got in here? And obviously Jimbo as well in there as well. But yeah, like, progression is just like one of the fun parts of the games. I think MFL did a little clip of like me talking about the RNG element within sort of MFL. And for me, that's one of the big hooks of the game when you get in. It's just that randomness. It's like, who's going to take off this season? Like, what's going to happen? Am I going to get a upgrade in this pack drop? Is this player the one that I've just packed, the one that's going to get massive progression? Like, is that something for you that you think has kept you engaged, BigWilbert?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I find myself waking up at like 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, I'm up. I might as well go check, to see how my progressions are going for the day. And what's nice is because I have so many players in like dev jail, like I always have quite a few players, that have gone up a little bit, but I'm always looking for those pinks and those blues to go up just that like little bit. And like I get like enough of that with my 1,600 players now, each day where, I really like never see like a dry spell.
Yeah, no, exactly the same. I think the start of the season probably is a little bit slower for me than normal, but normally I go to the bottom of the page, just here, then scroll up, and you're right. I'm always guaranteed to sort of get a guy in dev jail that gets a +1 overall, and normally there's a few stat increases as well. As I scroll up like that, you're getting more and more stats, and then it gets to like the blue ones, and I think, okay, now these are the ones that are interesting. Oh, I did get +1 there today. But then it gets to the pink ones, and these are the ones that really matter. Have I got at least like a stat increase or two, or overalls? And yeah, it was a bit drab today. But I've had quite a few tier breaks this season, a few new guys that have gone through, and those are the ones that sort of get me out of my chair and like little mini fist pump when I'm having my cup of tea in the mornings. But yeah, those are the important ones. This guy has sort of been another sort of slow burn, a little bit of an older guy, but he made the tier break as well. But yeah, those tier break to Lego, they're the ones that really sort of get me excited. But do you get the same sort of feeling? Like, have you had many that have gone across to upgraded to what do they call it? Ultimate, isn't it? The top ones.
Ultimate. Yeah, like I had like one this season. My star striker, he went from a 94 to a 95 this season. Again, I'm seeing a lot less of them, like now that they're like over the hill and they're over like 30, like most of them. But like as you can see with like Bob's like Beckman, like guy, he was like 35 before he finally like uh hit his like potential. So I think a lot of people like are really like overrating, like how well that they're like progressing like their players. Like it's really like hard like to get them to like 100 like percent if you don't have them like in dev jail and they don't, aren't in the perfect, like positions, right? So it's, like a lot of them like are really like aren't going to hit their like peak until like they're like well past the 30. So, maybe like a 32, 33, years, like are going to, it's going to be like when you're going to see that like final like +1, in terms of where most people see them at, like 25, 26. I've seen like a couple like flatline and they're probably like not going to go anymore, but for the most part you can always squeeze one or two more like overall out of those players later in their careers.
Yeah, hopefully for Bob's sake, because I'm sure the competitors within Diamond don't feel the same, but hopefully for Bob that Beckman plays into his 40s. But in fact, how old is he now? Oh, he's only 35. Only we whipsnapper at 35. But yeah, but that's incredible. I mean, you can't get better than that, can you? I mean, I guess when he's buying a player like that, like it is quite risky. Like Bob's bought a few of them, and he's got tombstones up on a couple more this season, and it's a bit heartbreaking. But Beckman being the best player in the game, you just want him to hang around, or Bob wants him to hang around as long as possible. But just
I did get a Lego tier break this season for a retiring guy. It was a bit gutted that he's retiring. Then he got the tier break, and I thought, don't know if I'm happy or annoyed.
they're the worst ones,
So
aren't
it's
they?
like bittersweet, right?
Nah,
It always seems to happen, doesn't it? With like the last season a player plays, or when they go to retirement, they always seem to get like another one or two stats. I've got a guy that's starting to get more stat increases now, but he's in his final season. It's like, please don't. It's just heartbreaking seeing them go up now. I want it on players that aren't retiring. But yeah.
I think even after you and Bob warning me on was it maybe the last show 2 weeks ago, you were warning me about the final season guys. I still underestimated how bad it is how long it takes them to recover. They're killing me. I'm never using them again.
Yeah, I mean they're only really used like the right back I've got in my main team. This guy, like he's retiring this season, and he can play. Like he's actually going down. It isn't quite as bad. Like he can play probably if he was at 100%, he could probably play 3 games on the spin without any problems. But then it's just the recovery that's so slow. It goes up at like 1% a game. So I've just been saving him for like the cup games, and I don't think he's played that many league games this season. But and he's got 90 physical as well, so which is probably the reason that he can play so many games. Like his fitness doesn't go down quite as much. But yeah, it is like so tough. I had to bring in another right back, like into my main team this season, who's just completely underpowered really for the division. I didn't really anticipate having to play him too much. And he's the guy I play when I'm playing teams that I think I'll probably lose against. But he's done all right, actually. I think he's won every game he's played this season. He's only played 2. But yeah, like it is like so tough. I think that like I haven't got any problem having them, but I think it was you that said earlier on, BigWilbert, that they're only really useful as backups, aren't they? Like you just can't have them as like the main guys. Goalkeepers are a little bit better, but even then, you've got to make sure you've got a decent backup.
I think all mine are backups, to be fair, but they're still like it's horrible. They're like at 90% and stuff, and then you look like, right, I'm going to rotate them back in. It's like 91%. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Do you have many of them on your teams, BigWilbert?
Oh yeah. But the thing is, like, I've like kind of like already set up for it, where if they're the starter, then they have like someone that can slide over and like take over for like 2 matches, and then something along those lines. I definitely have like a backup plan for like each of those individuals. Like Mandic, I hardly play him at all. But like he's like really good in a 4-2-3-1, where I play my other like CDM, but like I don't play that often. So probably every third game or so, like he gets in. So as you see, I'm able to keep his like fitness up quite a bit. And
Yeah.
even the like orange ones, like you got to watch out for them. You almost have to pair them up with another orange, to make sure that like you can keep everyone, like up to the right fitness standards.
Yeah, it just gets harder and harder, doesn't it, with sort of the players sort of rotating them in and out. But and I think again, you said it, like you can get away with 17-man squads, but when you've got retiring players on there, or even guys that have got like in the first or second season, it becomes a lot harder. Which is why I think a few of my squads are 18 or 19 players this season, just to take into account of that. But it is quite difficult on that front. Let's talk about how seasons are going anyway. Like, hopefully, a little bit of success. I'll go through mine first. I normally leave mine to the last. I'm not going to go through every team, but Forza Monkey there, like the shitty loan trial club I've got, that just in there, just collecting dust. Although I think they did come top of their group. Yeah, they got through. In fact, I've got 8 of mine teams through in the cup, which is the first time ever I've done that, which pretty happy about. Monkey Berbers, they're doing okay. Matadors, they're just sort of like a nice team that will sort of stick around in ice. I don't think I can get them any higher with the players I've got at the moment. The Vikings are the cup team, and they got through in the cup, winning their division as well. Monkey Thunder have been sort of my worst iron team for the last couple of seasons. I would like to keep them up. They're in 8th at the moment. Hopefully they stay up. But they made it through in the cup as well. Yeah, they did make it through in the cup, one of the teams. But getting through to the main teams, the Kings in iron, I don't know how they're top of the league. Unfortunately, they were the only team that got knocked out in the cup. After winning a last game, I thought there was a chance we might get through, but unfortunately not. But they're unbeaten at the moment in the league. They were predicted, I think, sort of 4th or 5th. And I can't strengthen them. If anything, might weaken them to take a player out, because I don't know whether I want another team in bronze next season, because then I have to look at loading in players. Fire, they're my worst bronze side. And again, I don't know how they're so high up. I think they were predicted like 10th or something like that at the start of the season. They're currently 4th. They got through in the cup as well. And then the 2 main teams, really the ones that I focus on mostly, are Funky Monkey. They are 2nd in the league, doing pretty well this season. They're a lot stronger than the last time they were in bronze. I'd quite like to get another team into silver, and then just have one team sort of like, maybe yo-yoing that way rather than yo-yoing between sort of bronze and iron, because the money starts to get a bit better as you get to, I guess, it gets better the higher up you go regardless, but the higher in bronze and then silver, it starts to feel a little bit better, especially towards the top of the divisions. And they got through in the cup as well. Annoyingly, we lost our last game against the bottom team. I did rotate a little bit, but not that much, and it was a bit of a shock loss, so I didn't finish top of the group, which is a bit annoying. And then the Magic, top of the league. I don't know how, after losing 2 games in our first 3, and top of the cup. So through in the cup, and that's fun because in the cup we have fellow co-host Retro Degens, who I don't think are doing great in the league, but they went 6-0 in the cup, which is pretty impressive. Got Kodap in here, another guy that's been on the show. He got through top of the group. Got Phoenix Park Rangers, owned by Rory, top of the group. I'm probably missing some in here as well, but who's covering that? Snake, isn't it? And me, top of the group. So, yeah, was that Risu? Yeah, Risu, top of his group as well. Congrats on that, Risu. I think you were in the chat earlier, but yeah. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. A decent start to the season, and the Magic normally get better after the mid-season break. I'm just hoping it's not the other way around this season. But yeah, what about you, Hoodwink? Before we get on to the major player in the game, how's your season gone?
Pretty good so far, mostly. The trial club Rio Ramble, the U23 Ramble team, they're mid-table, 18 points, won 6, lost 5. We didn't draw games. That is really just there to try and help some progression for the youngsters, which is going all right actually so far. Pumped in the cup, like never won a game in the cup, but it was fun. Atlanta they're a bit of an OP team, to be honest. They're top of the league, 110, drawn 1, lost none, scored 57 and conceded 4. So I should win the league there, hopefully. And did we get through in the cup? Nah, we drew 5 games in the cup. Oh my god, and lost 1. But they're scoring for fun.
You like going extremes, don't you? Like no draws with one team, all draws with another team.
Santiago are third. There's a team that's going to walk away with the league on they're on 28 points. I'm third on 19 points, 1 point behind second. So that's no bad. I think they qualified for the cup as well. So they're in the round of 16. It's not a bad team. Like scored 20, conceded 8. So we've got the best defence in the league, which I love. So pretty good for them. I think Livingston, they're a bit OP as well, actually. I think they're undefeated in the league. Aye, 1-7, drawn 4. Only conceded 6 goals as well. We're on 25 points, 4 points ahead. And
you need to get a few more of these teams in slightly higher divisions, don't you? So they can sort of
learn
a bit more MFL.
Because so Livingston, they were, where were they? They just got promoted, I think. Oh no, they're never mind. They're the penalty shootout, fucking scammers. Anyway, I'll not get annoyed at my penalty shootouts again. So they hopefully this was the season that they get promoted to like first place. We're through in the cup as well, through to the round of 16. And again, they've got a lot of good players, so hopefully I can get them to stone and they kind of, instead of loaning players, they'll be gone there. So that's the plan for them. The Santiago one, I only bought them this season. I bought them for Mini-Me. So that was, again, just because I've got so many players that I loan out at that level that it'd be better kind of competing for in an ice league and try to get them promoted. Daegu are all right. They're 5th just now.
Weren't they predicted like 2nd or something?
I think so, aye. I don't know how. I think by best 11 they were, but my rotation's not quite as strong there, which really screwed me yesterday. My problem with them is I went for the cup as well, so I was it yesterday? Whenever it was the cup games were on, I needed a win, or I needed a draw or a win. So I went with my strongest team instead of I've been doing like rotating my full 11 for the cup games mainly. So I needed the win. I got beat 3-2. Sorry, I needed a point. I got beat 3-2. So I lost in the cup. And then my fitness was a bit low and I lost a really winnable game against a team kind of around me. So I'm on 13 points. 2nd and 3rd are on 19 points. So really the focus is on the league there. I didn't expect them to get promoted, to be honest, but I want to be high up.
Perennial underachievers, aren't they?
Aye, but won the league last season, or did we win the league? Whatever happened last season, we got promoted. So finally we're up there. So it's good to be competing, and there is a chance that they could be in the promotion race. 6 points isn't much at this part of the season, although it's only an 11-team league, so 10 games left. but it just needs to be perfect. But being at the cup might help them, hopefully. In Edinburgh, they're my success story so far. Second place, 1 point behind top of the league. I think they lost in the cup. I've never got through in the cup, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect him to be up in second. I was kind of hoping just for like a mid-table, or even a top half finish. So while that lasts, that's fun. I've got a lot of good players in there that I've got quite a few on loan. So I just honestly want to help the people that have loaned the players that get the maximum MFL as well. But it's fun being up there. They've been really good actually this season. So keep that up. But overall, really good.
Nice. Do you at the start of the season, do you sort of go for the cup, or do you sort of sit back and sort of think, just whatever happens, or see how the league's going before you decide on the cup?
Nah, I like a cup run, but I'll be honest, I struggle in the. I think I've won 1 or 2 cups, so at times I can do well with them, but I think I struggle with the rotation and try to fit everyone in. I just didn't. I never do very well with it, and usually I think I've got, what did I say, 2 teams maybe that have qualified. I'll expect to get pumped out in the round of 16 just because that's what usually happens. But I love a cup run though. I do try and focus on it, but it just doesn't always work out for me for whatever reason. The league is my main focus, but I don't know. I do need to. There's one part that I need to improve for my MFL game, is trying to compete in the cup and the league without kind of fucking up the cup all the time, basically.
I think with the cup, you can just earn so much more MFL, additional MFL, that for me, I just really try and sort of focus on it when it comes around. And I was awful at the cup for I won it first season with my first ever team, and then I was just dreadful after that. And then rather than sort of rotating, I tried to target it, and it's just gone quite well the last couple of seasons. What about you, BigWilbert? Obviously, you've got a lot of teams. Is there any that you particularly focused on? Obviously, we've got Club Atletico Tango, the main team up in Diamond, and I'm assuming that a lot of time goes into them over other teams. Are there other teams that you look at and spend time on?
Yeah, well, I really spend pretty equal time with the rest of them. Obviously, a little bit more my Platinum Club, the Hamburg Harmony. They're kind of middle upper table right now. They really should be in the playoffs. Just a bad run of form recently, but I think I've kind of locked them down a little bit. I'll be able to do a little bit better since I don't have to worry about a Titans Cup run for them. Club Atletico Tango was able to win their first 4 matches in the Titans Cup, so I was able to rest my players, in matches 5 and 6. We're still able to pull out draws in those, so I was able to win my group pretty handily there.
Was it last season that you won the cup?
Yeah. I won the Titans Cup last year with a flawless 10-0 run. So that was
amazing.
Something I was pretty proud of. Yeah. I got a pretty easy group, so I was able to rest a lot of my guys. But when it comes to the knockout rounds, it's pretty much like a coin flip almost every single time, unless you've kind of stacked your teams, which I don't know if I'll do this season or not. With the ones that have made it. Because I have a couple of clubs that are probably going to relegate in the upper division, so I might bring a couple of those players down to kind of bolster some of my cup runs. But I haven't really decided yet. I guess I should get working on that because I think the window is open now to make any changes, so I'll probably have to do that. But like I said, I probably made about the knockouts in about half the cups. So I'm just gonna see how far I can take it. But just by the way that my teams are made, I can pretty much put a pretty full team out most of the times when it comes to league and in cup. So I think I do pretty well at both of them. Not as well this year. I think almost every coin flip that I had on the last match day of the cup, I lost out. like where I won like the matches I needed to, and then the two teams that were in front of me drew, so like that just put it just out of reach, and that kind of stuff happened. So it happens. Like you just have to make your own luck when it comes to the like cups, and in those I'll just kind of focus on the leagues, on the ones that I didn't make. So
yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
Is there like an average that you normally get through? Is like sort of 50% of the teams? Like when you've got that many teams, that's still a lot of teams. Is that like about average?
Yeah, 50% is about average, right? Like I'm playing like more of a numbers game, so I'm not really focusing in too much. I'm just making my rotations and putting good formations and good positions to possibly like win matches. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of see where it is and then dig into the tactics, like when it comes to the knockout rounds. Like typically once I make it, like past the group stage is typically when I do better. I think I made out of the um, like 20 teams or so, like I made last season. I think I don't know, maybe like 8 or 9 like made the semifinals, like or something like that last season. So yeah, so like that's when I really start to take things seriously and just kind of like pare down on individual like matchups and just kind of see where their tendencies are.
You've got a decent matchup in you're playing Sturgeonators, Tijuana Terriers in the next round of the Titans Cup, which I guess is probably as good as it gets in terms of matchup, is it? Like going through, like, it's just stacked, isn't it? The Titans Cup. So
Yeah, that's gonna be like a platinum club. Knock on wood, I've done pretty good against Sturgeonator in the last couple seasons or so. I think he's still trying to figure out the engine as well. So I like my chances there, but again, anything can happen. If meta mercenaries like don't win every season, then that means that there's still a little bit of like variance like involved. So
and do you think you got a chance of winning the cup, going back to back?
yeah, like I got like a good like as good a chance as like anyone. Like I said, like I won my group. I got a fairly good first round matchup. I just kind of have to see where things lie and get a little bit lucky, right? Because when it comes to that quarterfinals, semifinals, and like into the final, like you kind of have to win that coin flip matchup, right? Because they're going to be like quality squads at the end there anyway. So you just have to just put your best foot forward, and just like hope for the best. And luckily, like it worked out for me last season when it came to the tango.
And two Dio teams are up against each other in the cup. Is that DFC Amsterdam and DFC? Are they both Dio?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. That's always tough, isn't it? When they get that, like when you draw against your own team, I guess you just want the best team to go through, don't you? But I guess like you can manage it and sort of rest guys on one team that where he doesn't want the other team to go through. But yeah, it's a fairly balanced draw, I guess. Like looking at it, we've got Los Galacticos, we've got Bob in the top half and Bisciano Milano. So Bob would potentially play him in the quarterfinals if they both go through. I guess the bottom half of the draw looks slightly easier, which you're in. Although if you get through to the next round, you'll be playing Meta Mercenaries or BFC Barcelona, which neither of them are really easy matches. But
no, like they're all like pretty difficult at this stage. So again, just got to put your best foot forward and just hope for the best.
What's your highest ever finish in Diamond?
I in like one of the I think season not 0.7, I actually won it all. So but a couple seasons back I did finish second. So just I'm kind of where I expected like to be. I'd like to be a little bit like closer to the top. But like again, that's like 2 matches like away from like really like being in the running there. So I'm not too terrible where I am. I just had a bad like run of form there with the 3 losses in a row, but I was able to like pick it up with the like 2 wins like before the midseason break here. So I'm just kind of where I need to be. Just want to make sure I'm staying out of that relegations zone if possible.
And it's quite. Do you feel the difference in the last couple of seasons? Like since Bob and obviously Sid got promoted, both in the league now and both trying their best to make competitive teams and sort of do as well as they can. And, you know, obviously we've still got Roan in there, still got you in there, still got XVIX, got the Dow team. The Dow team in there. Dio, Fraj, like, you know, there's some. Oh no, Dio doesn't have a team in there. Oh no, he does. Yeah, DFC Barca Magic. So like, it just feels like a lot more of a competitive division now. Whereas like before, you had teams in there that were just in there to sort of like, you know, make the MFL, and you know they knew they were going to get relegated. It seems like most of the teams in there now are teams that, you know, would like to stay up. Is there a bit of a difference now in terms of how you sort of approach it?
Yeah, for sure. You know, especially like Bob and Sid have like done like quite a bit to like upgrade their squads, and like they're buying those like top end players and like consolidating like some of the people that have like left the game, or you know have like kind of like taken a step back. So that just makes it more difficult, right? You know, it's always going to be like difficult for, you know, like a promoting platinum side, you know, to like stay up, just because, you know, it's just really like tough, especially with the like competition out there. I feel that I've got a pretty strong squad that can like hold its own, and you know, it of course like has, because I've been in Diamond since like season one, so like I haven't like gone down at all. You know, I've had enough players progress. It's kind of slowing down, so I'm not really expecting them to really get too much better, but like that's why I have a large agency. So if like someone, you know, is going to be a shining star, like, you know, like we had like shown like Schultz earlier, I'll be able to like slot him in maybe in a couple of seasons, just like I did with Latuma. So you know,
Yeah.
that constant rotation, and just keeping them in there. So yeah, I'm just kind of sitting on my laurels for right now. Eventually, you know, unless I put like more into my club, I'm going to like go down, but just not this season or next, hopefully.
Yeah, it is tough. Like, how do you, you know, there seems to be varying opinions on how the game will change. I don't know. I'm sure I saw Jimbo talking about it earlier that, you know, there is going to be that point where like you know, the earliest players that are in the game like are retiring, you know, and the numbers that are retiring are just getting exponentially higher every single season. Like there was a few hundred, now up to a few thousand are getting the tombstone every season, and like it's just going to make it a lot harder at the top because there's less of those sort of ultimate players to go around when they retire, and you just hope that you've got a big enough agency or a train of players that, as you said, that are coming through to sort of fill those spots. Do you foresee that the average overall within Diamond was slightly reduced over the next few seasons, or maybe not the next few, but after that?
Probably not, just because like you're gonna see the like best of the best up here, you know, like even, you know, like agents that have like ultimate players, they're always going to want to get those players in the like top leagues. So there's always going to be like at least a couple managers that loan out, you know, like a couple players like onto their own like squads to like bolster them up. So like the cream of the crop is going to happen. Like we're probably going to see a couple more like 99s in like the next couple seasons, just because that's bound to happen. But yeah, like in terms of the leagues below, that's where we might see a hit. You know, we're not gonna consistently see the like power creep that we pretty much see every single season. I think one thing that's really contributed to that is the downturn like in the market. It's a lot cheaper, you know, like to get those like higher end like players now. Just like like I can attest, you know, like I'm getting like Legos for less than $50 that, you know, like aren't that like don't have the like retirement symbol yet. So of course that's gonna make it um uh easier to like stack like lower end like clubs with like better players, and that's just, you know, like name of the game. But you know, like eventually that first wave is gonna eventually like retire, and you know, we're gonna it's just a matter of how like MFL like restocks. So like I think at that point in time, Jimbo said that they'll probably increase the like pack drops right around like when we're going to see the like peak of those like initial retirements, just to keep up with that flow. Because uh, like they're a lot like smarter than I am, and they like care about the influx of like players. I think they want about like 20 to 25 like players per every like club. I think that's what they're kind of looking at. In terms of just making sure everything flows correctly. We'll see how many more like trial clubs, get get converted like this season as opposed to like next season, because you can only do that one season at a time. But yeah, but like at the top, you're always going to see the like best players there, unless like unless like someone's like trying to promote out of the like platinum side.
I'm just having a look at the ultimate players in the game, and there's actually a few younger ones which I sort of didn't necessarily expect to see, like a few around 25. But I just assumed that most of them were quite old. But there's actually a lot more than I thought within the game as well.
Yeah, like they're gonna like progress. Like they just like pulled up, like Ronan was able to pull him uh last season, but he was like a 94 like right out of the box anyway. So all he needed to go up was one, but like he's only age like 25. So he'll likely like be a 99 at some point. But yeah, just gotta keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah. Ronan does a pretty good job, doesn't he? Of sort of like keeping the train of players when he's got a player retire, and he sort of brings the player in to replace them. But
Yep.
Pretty decent job. Yeah, I've got Sid in the chat saying he just figured he places Big Will next. Never-ending nightmare. Hopefully the mid-season will turn around for you. Turn around your form, Sid. But tough match between two good teams. Got Los Galacticos and Club Atletico Tango straight after the break. But I guess in Diamond League, most games are pretty big games. But
Yep.
let's have a look at the run. Who do you end the season with this time? Oh, you got an easier game at the end of the season. With that,
yeah, like that's kind of like the worst like time to face them, because like that's typically like when you switch your guys out. So yeah, that's kind of a bit unlucky for me that I face him like at the end of the season as opposed to like somewhere in the middle, just because I like to rotate out against those really weak sides. But
yeah, because you're not saving fitness for anything then, are you? I mean, I'm assuming that they put everybody's fitness back to 100, do they, for the start of the cup?
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. So that may work to my like advantage in terms of the like holiday heroes like cup. So
Yeah.
I don't think they have in the past when it comes to that. So we'll see. I doubt it, just because, right? Because you're looking at like 6 matches like in group play, and then like knockouts. So if you were to reset everyone to like 100%, most people like, would be able to play their starters, until like match 5 or 6, like in a lot of like cases if they're like at like 100%. So I doubt that they'll reset.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, it doesn't make sense doing that, does it? Like, you just have to keep that in mind when you're sort of doing your teams for back into the season, which throws a little bit of a sort of another curveball in there, doesn't it? But we've been going for like an hour and a half now, anyway, and Hoodwink has to go and pick his wee nipper up from school. I'm sure BigWilbert's got plenty of things to be doing, as it's right at the start of the day, and I've got to go and have a little lie down on the sofa and hopefully a little bit better. But anything else you wanted to say, Hoodwink, before we start to get out of here?
No, nice to meet you though. Lovely to have you on.
You've met me before.
Pleasure.
Big Will.
Yeah, it was a little like contentious then, but we're good now. But yeah, well, thanks for having me on. Like I said, like like I'd be like glad like to be on another one in the future. But yeah, keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys are knocking it out of the park. Just keep up the content, and yeah, just good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, you too as well, and hopefully we'll see Club Atletico Tango rise up the table and maybe even go back to back in the cup and get a little bit of cup success. But yeah, all attention now turns to rebuilding teams, if possible, or bringing in any stars needed for the remainder of the season. I don't anticipate too much changes with my teams, but I'll have a look and see who we've got in the cup and whether to rotate players between clubs and see how we go with that. But yeah, pack drop tonight. I believe it's Jimbo, of course, and Adra Led joining in this evening. So that should be a fun stream. I will definitely be putting it up on the big screen in the lounge and lying there on the sofa. Probably not entering the quiz because I'm fairly useless at that. But yeah, it should be a fun watch. So yeah, make sure you watch that. And we should be back next week. So thank you very much. Bye.